Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tyre. How you doing today? I need to start the show off with one thing. And if y'all forgive me for this mess, but happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my son. Happy birthday to you. Today's my son's birthday. So, had to get that out of the way, top of the show. Yesterday was my father's birthday. Today's my son's birthday. Two birthdays, two different generations, back to back. So, anyway, got that out of the way. Good morning, everybody. Happy birthday to my son. I'm proud of you, boy. You're doing good. All right, now to the fun stuff. Let's start off again with yesterday. As we all should know by now, and if you've got a memory larger than a mouse or a goldfish, Trump was supposed to have been sentenced yesterday. That corrupt Judge Meacham was supposed to sentence him, remember? On the 34 falsely arrived at, unconstitutionally arrived at convictions in that unconstitutionally ran trial there in New York. My dad would get a kick out of being called the original fungus. He loved mushrooms. In fact, when we used to go camping, one of his habits, we would go out on the boat and we would go out collecting mushrooms for to eat while we were camping. And we also went out at night with a light and a burlap sack and collected frogs. And we bring them back in and keep the biggest ones, set the little ones free, and have frog legs for dinner. And use what we didn't eat as bait for catfish and such. Doing little bottle fishing. If you don't know what bottle fishing is, that's where you would tie off lengths of string to milk bottles or something. Heavy duty fish line with big old hooks on them. Bait them up and throw them out in the pond, out in the creek or wherever. Then you go out in the boat the next morning and gather them up. And usually be able to get a fish or two. We usually brought in enough fish to feed all 7 of us. A breakfast or lunch, however we wanted it. That was when we were camping out on the lake. That would be my job to go up, my one brother's job to go out in the morning and gather up all the milk jugs, bring in the fish. And like I said, we usually brought in enough fish to feed everybody a meal. But I understand that's illegal to do now for some stupid reason. I don't know why. Throw out a dozen or so before you go to bed and wake up the next morning, go out and get your fish. They'd still be alive. You just have to chase the bottles down. But anyway, but that unconstitutional trial that Alvin Bragg had, ran by a corrupt Judge Meacham, whose daughter was fundraising off of it to donate to liberal parties, liberal groups. And the reason why I say the trial was corrupted, and there are so many charges there that they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to get unanimous decisions on all 34 charges. So what they did was they broke up into groups of 4. And if all 4 agreed, then that would be considered a conviction. Not all 12 had to agree on each charge. Only 4 had to agree on each charge. I really do wonder what the appellant process is on this, how it's going, because really should be. But anyway, Judge Meacham had set yesterday for the sentencing date, and instead it ended up being exactly, Tyre. That's exactly my opinion on it. But then he moved the sentencing date until after the elections. I wonder why. I wonder why. So Trump went and held a rally in New York. Just a small one. Since the outside, anything Trump does outside is now considered dangerous, even playing around the golf, because of assassins. And I'm going to be honest, I had forgotten about there was a third assassin out there. There's a Pakistani man that had gotten caught, who'd been paid by the Iranians to assassinate Trump. And he just got convicted. But I totally forgot about that. Forgot that even happened. Shame on me. And shame on the news media for not bringing that up. But anyway, this building that Trump was holding the rally in last night could only hold, I believe it was 15,000 people, and over 60,000 people had requested tickets for it. Masses shot a picture of the line of the group that waiting outside. He wasn't supposed to speak until like 7:30, I believe, last night. I'm going off of memory here. I don't have any of this stuff written down. And 12 hours prior to that, they already had over 7,000 people sitting out there. By noon, they had over 20,000 people out there. Now, the gates didn't open until 3:30. And I believe the opening acts weren't starting until after 4 or 4:30, something like that. So they they were planned on having televisions, big screens, probably projection stuff, set outside for people to watch on. But even to get parking there, you had to have a ticket. I'm not going to disagree with you, Tyre. But I'm not going to also, I don't make that a big part of my support for Trump. I don't make that a part that I bring up continually because I don't want to make it sound like Trump has been picked by God to lead the nation. I don't want that. I don't want that to be a so. There are people out there saying that, yes, and I wish they wouldn't be. I really wish they wouldn't because, face it, we could have a Kamala presidency. I am not going to be one of these people that are going to say that 100% Trump is going to be elected. I want him to be elected. Make no doubt about that. I believe that he and I tell you, I like our backbench, JD, Vivek, and a few others. I like our backbench here for future presidencies after Trump. I really do. JD is impressing me more and more and more every time I hear him speak. But we also have to remember JD is espousing and backing Trump's views right now, not his own. He's out there supporting Trump and his views, his plans. And he's doing a damn fine job of doing that. Oh, you're absolutely right, Tyre. You're absolutely right. I'm not going to, I'm not going to deny any of that. But I do not want to put a religious tone to this election or to any election. I don't want to put a religious tone to it. While our government, the founders of our government were religious men, while God in one form or another is referenced over a dozen times in our founding documents. While we do have a Judeo-Christian basis to our laws, none of that can be denied. And I don't want any of that to be diminished in any way, shape, and or form. I still want our government to be a secular government based upon the principles that were founded within our founding documents, if that makes any sense. And the reason for that, it lies within the First Amendment. Shall make no law respecting the establishment of a religion. I believe that is extremely important. Well, actually, I misphrased that entirely. Okay, I apologize. I completely misphrased that. I misworded that. Okay, and I apologize for that. I know better. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Okay. I was close, but not exact, and I apologize for that. We need, I do not want, and the reason why I'm this way on that is because you know, I don't want Islam established as a form of government, just like I don't want Satanism established. I really, I also don't want Catholicism established. Okay, especially old form. No meat on Fridays, meatless Fridays. It's like, nah. I like my beef and pork and chicken too much. I don't want to be forced eating fish every Friday. My wife would hate it because she doesn't like fish. Mrs. Paul's Fish Sticks is her idea of good fish. So anyway, so on the day that Trump was supposed to be sentenced to go to jail, and the liberals and Democrats were cheering, they were just waiting with bated breath for this day. For yesterday, they were waiting. They're waiting to see him to be frog marched out in handcuffs. And then next scene in an orange jumpsuit. They were hoping for that day. They had I know some that had parties planned for that day. One guy here in town bought a big screen television. Yes, we do have liberals living in our town. He bought a big screen television just so that he could host the party at his house. To watch Trump get sentenced and get handcuffed and let off. He was waiting for he was ecstatic. He was orgasmic over the idea. He's also one of these guys that has no problem going around tearing up Trump flags and Trump signs and banners and such and spray painting over them. Which one of these days he's going to get caught and he's going to end up spending some time in his own orange jumpsuit because of it, for malicious damage to political signs that do not belong to him. Yeah, liberal porn. So, yeah, I just wanted to. I'm going to share this without the audio.
Only available to around 16,000. Counter protesters also waiting for Donald Trump.
Fox 5's Jessica Formoso live outside the Coliseum with more on the crowds and Yes. Teresa and Steve, a huge turnout of thousands who did not make it inside ended up in the plaza where 3 big TV screens were set up.
We're like 10 people from getting in.
It's okay. We're still here. We're still in it just for the support.
Doesn't matter. We had great friends online. We all high-fived. It's wonderful to be here, regardless if we got in or not.
Some supporters came prepared with their lawn chairs, while others just sat on the ground waiting for the former president to pop up on the screens.
Please welcome the next president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
A little after 7 p.m., Trump took to the stage. The same energy inside the arena was felt outside.
We've heard it all. We believe in it.
Outside Nassau Coliseum, in the backdrop of Trump's rally, the Haitian American community held a counter protest, calling out Trump for the comments he made about Haitians eating pets.
He's a racist. He's a convicted felon, and we want him not to get in.
Trump's campaign rally here on Long Island is his first since his second assassination attempt. Security, as expected, was tight throughout the entire day. A number of street closures causing gridlock.
Okay, that's enough of that. But there were, there are people who weren't exactly, some people. And in a way, I can understand why some of these people were not, the Haitian community as a whole, the way, I can understand why Haitians not in Springfield, Ohio, can feel offended. But we're going to go there. That's where I'm going next here, Springfield, Ohio. Because Trump announced yesterday he's going to go to Springfield, Ohio. That is going to be one of his campaign stops. Imagine that you lived in a town of 50,000 people, and all of a sudden your town grows from 50,000 to 70,000 with a bunch of people brought in and dumped off. People who don't share your values, people who are being given $20,000 to $30,000 to start with to get set up, buy vehicles, rent homes, groceries, clothes, etc., etc., etc. You live in a small town, all of a sudden it grows like that. And as a result of this unexpected and rapid and unplanned growth, these people who don't share your culture, don't share your values, they're out on the roads and they're driving and acting like they do in their hometown. In their home country. They're not even attempting to fit in with the local. As a result of their lack of concern for driving laws, the number of accidents just climb astronomically, to the point that your insurance for your car doubles within a few short months because of the number of accidents happening in your town. That's what's happening in Springfield. Exactly, Tyre. There's no question. There's no question that these Haitians are getting the ducks and geese and eating them out of the parks. There is speculation, and only individual reports, which could or could not have basis in fact, that these Haitians are eating domesticated animals other than ducks and geese from out of the parks. There's also speculation that some of these domesticated animals, other than ducks and geese, are being used in a ritualistic fashion, dealing with a certain religion that is made fun of in most places. Does have it did have an a I mean, there was New Orleans did have a basis on some of these on this religion, and I think y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it, but I think y'all know what I'm talking about. So there's that problem. Would I be surprised to find out that any of these stories that are being denied by city officials are true? No, I would not be surprised whatsoever. These people, like that woman did, called Trump a racist. That's an easy accusation to make. You can make that accusation, and the left will make it against anybody who isn't a far left liberal. Anybody who doesn't believe in open borders. All right. Now, I've got a question for you. Here we go. This is what I want. Open image, a new tab. Let me open this up. That big. There we go. We've got all these Haitians here in our country because of stuff going on in Haiti. So there's a map. Just to refresh your mind. This half or third of this island is Haiti. All of this is the Dominican Republic. Why aren't the Haitians just crossing the border to the east and going to the Dominican Republic? Why are they coming to the United States? Why are we bringing them here? Their problems are their problems there. I haven't heard about the Dominican Republic having these problems. So the people out of Haiti who want to escape their problems, why aren't they going over to the Dominican Republic to escape them? Why? Hey, Digi. Good morning. What did you miss? Well, you missed me singing happy birthday to my son, whose birthday's today. That's probably the most important thing you missed. Other than that, it's just been me doing my usual rambling, shaking my fist at the clouds, being that orf. So, I mean, this just, why are we importing people we don't need to import? If they want to escape the issues in Haiti, why don't they just go across the border to the Dominican Republic? Yeah, I sent him. I sent my son a text this morning where I sang him the happy birthday song. Like I do every year. I'll see him this evening when we go to the grandson's ball game, and I'll sing it to him again and embarrass him. Hey, Fury, how you doing? So I'll embarrass him in front of all the other parents at the my grandson's ball game this evening. So. And so I wonder if that woman would consider me a racist just for asking that question. But these Haitians are here on temporary visas. Well, we know how this goes. These temporary visas, after they're going to be here for 5, 10, 15 years, and then it's going to be, well, they've gotten acclimated to the United States, and they've gotten used and dependent to our lifestyles and our ways of doing things, which is totally better than what they have in their home country. So why do we really need to send them back and downgrade their lifestyle? They've gotten used to our lifestyle here. They've been integrated into the communities. They hold jobs. They do this. They do that. Why send them back? Because their temporary visas have expired. That's why. Send them back. They only want to live here not because they want to be United States citizens, not because they love the country, not because they love the idea of being an American. They want to live here because life is easier. They're getting paid amounts of money from the federal government, i.e., out of our tax dollars. We're giving them massive amounts of money. We're supporting them in a lifestyle that they could not dream of having in their own country. And you and I are supporting them in this. Well, I hadn't even planned on talking about this today, but that woman with her comment about Trump being a racist, that just sort of set me off. Because I don't think it's racism to say, hey, we need to send these Haitians back to Haiti. Let them resolve their issues there. We can't afford to keep supporting them. Listen to the complaints of the people of Springfield, Ohio. So, okay. So done with that Trump rally picture. I done with that Trump rally picture. What's this here? Okay. Oh, let's get the news coverage of Trump's rally. I just love this. From Long Island, Trump lobs exaggerated attacks at New York City. Donald Trump told a raucous crowd that he would soon visit Springfield, Ohio, and Aurora, Colorado. Two cities that are focal points of his exaggerated claims about migrants. How about using the correct word? Immigrants. Immigrants. Not migrants, immigrants in America. This is the New York Times, of course. Mr. Michael Gold. On the day he was originally set to return to his hometown and receive a sentence for his 34 felony convictions, former President Donald J. Trump found himself a few miles east, basking in the raucous adulation of a packed arena in Long Island. Standing in front of thousands of the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Mr. Trump received a local hero's reception as he drew an exaggerated depiction of New York in decline. It's not exaggerated. Go look at New York. They spent $1 billion on illegals last year. $1 billion. They've had illegals beat up cops, get arrested, and released. It almost wasn't worth the arrest. They were back on the street quicker than it took them to get them to the courthouse. Made false claims and hammered Democrats over crime, inflation, and immigration. He continued to falsely maintain that Springfield, Ohio has been overrun by illegal immigrants, even though the Haitian community is referring as temporary legal status. He then announced he would visit both that city and Aurora, another focal point of his exaggerated claims about migrants. You mean Aurora, Colorado, that's the same Colorado that Venezuelan gangs have taken over apartment complexes? That's an exaggerated claim? That gangs have literally taken over apartment complexes? I believe it's 2 of them. So that's not exactly an exaggerated claim. As he discussed Springfield's, members of the crowd started chanting, "Save the cats." No, the reference has not been, it's not been a debunked claim. It's been a denied claim. There's a difference between city officials denying that it's happened and it being proven that it hasn't happened. There is a difference there. Hey, Raman, good morning. Well, Raman, as I said, as I told Digi, you missed me singing happy birthday. Yeah, there was the interior held 15,000 Fury, the exterior, there was another 40-some thousand outside. I love this. Mr. Trump's rally on Island was his second campaign event since the apparent assassination. Well, I mean apparent. There was an assassination attempt on Sunday. Though he spoke with his typical vigor about the incident, he later appeared jumpy at one point as someone apparently approached the stage. I thought this was a wise guy coming up, Mr. Trump, suddenly breaking mid-thought from his comments on taxes. Acknowledging his nerves, he later said, I've got a bit of a yip problem here, right? That was amazing. I was ready to start duking it out. Mr. Trump's decision to hold a rally in New York with just under 7 weeks left in the race provoked raised eyebrows from political observers. New York, a political stronghold, is not one of the battleground states that's seen critical to his path to victory, and his campaign has not been expending resources here. But, this is it, okay? He is going to the belly of the beast, where he is hated. He is hated in New York by the political machinery there. This rally last night was a stick in the eye, a thumbing of the nose, a waving of the bare buttocks to the faces of Alvin Bragg, Judge Meacham, and the rest of that crowd. You thought you'd be sending me to prison today, and instead I'm here, and I got 60,000 people showing up in a Democratic stronghold to listen to me speak. Yeah, exactly, Fury. How dare he? And oh my. Yep, exactly. And people like me, I'm in Florida, and people like me are cheering him on for that. You don't think the people across the country that are paying attention to politics and supporting Donald? My wife, who is not, she would rather watch the Lifetime channel than listen to me talk about politics. She would rather watch Dancing with the Stars and comment about the one woman dancing with a ankle tracker on from the federal government while she's out on probation or parole or something. But the Long Island is critical to Republicans' hopes of holding the House, and the region is kind of a proving ground for Mr. Trump's attacks on Democrats over policies he insists has fueled crime and inflation. Damn straight it's fueled crime and inflation. Every time I hear a Democrat say that the illegal immigrants in the country are better obeyers of the law, they break the law less than native-born Americans. I want to sit there and say they break the law every damn day that they're here. Every day they're in this country, they're breaking the law. Every single day. Now, they may not all be committing murder, but quite a few of them are. They may not all be robbing banks or grocery stores or holding up people at the ATM or running con games, doing purse snatches, pickpocketing and such, but enough of them are. They may not all be taking over apartment complexes like it's happening in Aurora, Colorado, but they're committing other crimes. Plus the fact every day they're here as an illegal, they are breaking the law on our immigration laws. every single day. And as I've said before, when an illegal immigrant is brought up before the judge, and he's been in this country 6 months, he needs to be charged for every day. There needs to be a daily charge of illegal entry into the country. It needs to be charged every day. He's been here for a week, that's 7 charges. Been here for a month, either 30 or 31 charges. Been here a year, that's 365 days worth of charges, or 366 if it's a leap year. Every day needs to be a new charge of being an illegal in this country, not just a singular charge. But every day should be a fresh charge. As rallies nationwide, Trump often uses an apocalyptic, thank you much, picture of New York as an abstract emblem of a liberal agenda, and says that he has, and says that he says has caused lawlessness and decay. Even so, his comments resonate with thousands of energized supporters for whom their city is the backyard. Yes. We see it. We can see it on the evening news. You can see what's happening in New York on the evening news. Remember, parts of New York City police have got the Muslim patrol, community patrol vehicles, which are marked identically to the New York City police vehicles. And oh, by the way, they don't want the New York City police vehicles in their neighborhoods. They want their neighborhoods to be patrolled strictly by the Muslim community patrol. Sound familiar? No-go areas in France and England. Areas of France and London where locals are told not to go. Areas where the Muslims want to make it illegal to even walk a dog because it's against their religion. And in New York City, they've got areas where the New York City police are not welcomed to be patrolling because the Muslims want to patrol their own area. But still, Mr. Trump, who faces tight polls with Vice President Kamala Harris in several critical battleground states, insists his rally was meant to help him win this state. He marveled at his charged audience, at one point comparing himself to Elvis Presley, who played the arena several times. So anyway, do I believe he can flip New York? Turn New York blue or red, whatever. No, I don't know if he's going to turn New York State. But I do believe that he's got the best opportunity to send more Congress critters, House members, to the Congress and help keep at least the House in the hands of the Republicans. Okay. What's this other story here? I had another story here about him in New York. This other one's just more the same, so I'm not even going to go there. It's the area the police need to do more protect, like 24-hour security on masses, because Jews have been assaulted and the mosques are secure. I've got a serious issue with this. Is what I'm saying is these people are coming to, we're bringing people into our country that don't respect our country. They don't support our country. They don't believe in our founding principles. They don't believe in our Constitution. Oh, they cherry pick what they want to cherry pick out of it. But as a whole, they don't like it, and they want nothing to do with it. Oh, they can quote the First Amendment. To you, they can quote that lock, stock, and barrel. But they don't believe in many other parts of the Constitution. And the Muslims, they only, they want they believe in the first part, the free exercise of religion, but they don't believe in the shall not establish. Because why? They want to establish Islam as the mandatory religion of the United States. I saw a cartoon here a few years ago. And I saw it again here recently, but I don't remember where. And next time I see it, I'm going to have to save it. There's a guy sitting at a desk and a Muslim guy in typical Arabic gear staying before him. And the guy sitting behind the desk is stamping what appears to be a passport or visa paperwork or something. Welcome to the United States. There's just one. The next frame shows a half a dozen. Welcome to the United States. Next frame shows, maybe 50 or 60. Welcome to the United States. Next frame shows that same Muslim, the same person in the Arabic gear sitting behind that desk, and a man standing there in Western dress, and, permission to enter denied. But, and all this is taking place in the same office. Does this make me sound xenophobic? Does this make me sound Islamophobic? Or does it make me sound like a realist? Somebody that's paid attention to what the translated sayings, the translated preachings of what's being said by Muslim imams around the world, in England, in France, in several of the Muslim countries, and yes, even here in the United States. Yeah, exactly, Fury. Fury, you're probably even more familiar with what's going on than I am. Because I only know what's going on through the articles that I find on the internet. You, unfortunately, sir, are actually living in that mess. I know some Muslims, and as a person, as an individual, they're great people. I like them. But I've never discussed their religious beliefs with them. I just know they're practicing Muslims. I've never discussed their religious beliefs or what they believe should happen here in the United States. Because honestly, I don't know them that well to where I could get into that kind of a discussion with them. So, all right, what's this next one? Oh, yes. Let's have some fun here, poking fun. Teamsters won't endorse in presidential race after releasing internal polling showing most members support Trump. Isn't that amazing? The Teamsters Union isn't doing what its union members want them to do. This was updated at 8:23 last night. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters declined to endorse a presidential candidate on Wednesday after releasing internal polling that showed majority of its members supported President Donald Trump over Vice President Kamala Harris. It's the first time in nearly 3 decades the union has not endorsed a presidential candidate, and it's almost always been a Democrat. Unfortunately, neither major candidate was able to make serious commitments to our union to ensure the interests of working people are always put before big business. Because you can't always put one group over another. You can't. If you always put the interests of one group over the other group is going to disappear. The other group is going to fight back. You've got to, and that's the Democrats never, the Democrats always made a show of not supporting big business. And every time the Republicans supported big business, it got overblown. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien said in a statement, "We saw commitments from both Trump and Harris not to interfere in critical union campaigns or core Teamster industries and to honor our members' right to strike, but were unable to secure these pledges." Ahead of the decision, the Teamsters shared internal data showing the majority of the members supported Trump over Harris. And according to an electronic member poll that was initiated after Joe withdrew from the race, about 60% of the union believed Trump, while 34% supported Harris. Well, before we go any further here, this is the Teamsters Union boss. And this is him speaking at the Republican National Convention. He spoke on the Monday night at the Republican Convention. Now, here's this the first presidential poll before Biden dropped out. Biden had 44%, Trump at 36, RFK 5, West 1.7. You know the Teamsters were going to support Biden when he had 44%. They were going to come out and support Biden. That was a given. Then after Biden dropped, Harris dropped to 31%. Trump got 58%. Undecided 6, don't know 5. So let's say all 11% went to Harris. That only gave her 42% to Trump's 58. And you know all 11% wouldn't go. It'd probably go 6 and 5. So that'd be 37 to 63%. But the Teamsters Union doesn't like Trump, the leadership of the union as a whole. So they decided not to support a Republican. Now, this was a phone poll. Let's look at the electronic poll. The electronic poll, Harris, 34%, Trump, 59.6%, other candidates, 6.4%. So again, you divide this in half. Say it's a 50-50 split here. Trump is still at 63%. 63.8%. So almost 64% of the members support. Can you imagine the Teamsters not throwing their weight behind a Democrat for any reason if they had over 50% of the support? Yeah, really, Fury. Get ready, ready that fainting couch. Start clutching at your pearls. It's a great honor. They're not going to endorse the Democrats. That's a big thing. That's a huge thing. It's not just big, that's huge. Democrats automatically have the Teamsters. They took a vote, and I guess I was at 60% or more, and that's great honor. It's only 60% if you do the math the way I just did. You split up the undecided or you split up the other candidates. Harris met with the Teamster leaders on Monday. O'Brien had a primetime speaking slot at the Republican National Convention, but did not appear at the Democratic Convention the following month. They did not invite him or he declined. To speak at the Democratic Convention. It would be bad if they did not invite him. It would be worse if he declined. I don't know which way it happened. I wonder if I Googled that real quick, what could I get? come on, fingers. Was the Teamsters invited to the Democratic Convention? Search. Okay, rank and file Teamster retirees have been invited to attend the DNC. A sign that O'Brien's snub was personal. Okay, so they did not invite O'Brien to speak at the DNC convention because he was invited and accepted the speaking engagement at the Republican convention. That is stupidity on the part of the Democrats. That was pure stupidity on the part of the Democratic political party. The Teamsters, which represent truck drivers, freight workers, and other workers, is the last major labor union to announce presidential endorsement. The nation and other major organizations, including the American Federation of Teachers and United Auto Workers, have. The last time the Teamsters sat out a presidential election was 1996. It's endorsed Democratic nominees in the ensuing 6 elections, including Trump's opponents Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. The union last backed a Republican presidential candidate in 1988 with an endorsement of George H.W. Bush. So since Reagan, since the beginning of my voting lifetime, the only time the Teamsters have only endorsed a Republican presidential nominee once in my voting lifetime. I turned 65 here in a little under a month. And only once in my voting lifetime had the Teamsters ever endorsed a Republican. Just think about that. Oh, that's good, Fury. That's what I was laughing at your last comment. CNN previously reported that rank and file union memberships had large pockets of Trump support, even as major labor leaders endorsed Harris. Before Biden dropped out of the race, Teamster officials had suggested to various stakeholders the union would remain politically neutral in this cycle for the first time in decades. An endorsement from the Teamsters, which counts members from across the industries and is heavily represented in swing states such as Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, all of which went for Trump in 2016 before backing Biden 4 years later, would have been crucial for either candidate. Actually, and they're not officially endorsing Kamala. That is an endorsement of Trump. Because as I said, in my voting lifetime at 65 years old, almost 65, 64 years old, this is the first time that they did not endorse, only the second time that they did not endorse a Democrat. That's amazing. So that, okay, what's this next one? Oh, this is O'Brien speaking at the Republican convention. Okay, I showed all of those. All right, I'm not going to do that. I don't need that again. Okay. What time is it? 10:10. And stop sharing that, and I can now close that screen. Waiting for the all Teamsters of xenophonic far right and so chuds. that still deserves a chuckle there, Fury. I enjoyed that. All right, what's this? Oops. I want to close that. Want to close that. I'm looking at my screens and seeing what I need to close here, so I can weed down my stories. Okay. I really don't want to get into that. I've somewhat. Okay, this. Let's talk here about exploding phone pagers. People have died, and I shouldn't be laughing at the fact that people have died. What I'm chuckling about, what I find humorous, is Iran and Hezbollah got rid of cell phones because they thought Israel was tapping their cell phones. And they went to pagers. And somebody managed to get into the pagers that Iran and Hezbollah were buying to give out as communication devices to Hezbollah and Hezbollah related, Hezbollah friendly individuals. And these pagers. Oh, later, did you? You have a good day now. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. That's when I got rid of my pagers back in 1998. When I retired out of the Air Force, I got rid of my page. No, I didn't get rid of my pager then. Well, yes, I did, because I bought my first cell phone in 98. Because I know, I had the pager for when I was active duty. Because I spent a lot of time out of the office, and they needed to have a way to get in touch with me. And a pager was the best way to do it. Because the Air Force wasn't going to pay for me to have a cell phone. But I got a pager for free with my wife's cell phone. But anyway, so these guys got pagers as a secure form of communication. Besides that, you can send dirty words like boobies to someone else on their pager. You remember that, Fury? And you can send hello, the word hello on someone's pager. Now, the same tricks that we did with calculators when they first came out. And these kids today think that they're learning something new by using letters or numbers to spell out words. We were doing that when I was a teenager. But anyway, somebody, and I'm not going to point fingers. Well, I think we all know who did it, but I don't think anybody's actually admitted to it yet. Exploding pagers targeting Hezbollah kill 11 and wound thousands. The Iranian-backed terrorist group, which uses pagers to safeguard communications, blamed Israel for the attacks in Lebanon. Israel declined to comment. Who, me? No. We didn't do that. Hundreds of pagers carried by Hezbollah members exploded simultaneously across Lebanon on Tuesday, a day after Israeli officials said that they were ready to step up attacks against Iranian-backed militia. The pagers exploded on sidewalks and in grocery stores, at homes, and inside cars, killing at least 11 people and wounding at least 2,700 others. Witnesses reported smoke coming from the pants pockets before loud bangs knocked people off their feet. Hezbollah said at least 8 of its fighters have been killed. Lebanon's health minister, Faraz Abid, said that at least one of those killed was an 8-year-old girl, and that many victims had maimed hands and injured eyes. The health ministry put the hospitals on maximum alert and asked the citizens to throw out their pagers. Hezbollah has used pagers for years to make it harder for messages to be intercepted. At 3:30 p.m., the pagers received a message that appeared as though it was coming from Hezbollah's leadership, according to 2 officials familiar with the attack. The pagers beeped for several seconds before exploding. Now, when I used to have my pager, I kept mine clipped to my side. A friend of mine kept his in his front pocket. To be honest now, I would rather have mine go off on my hip than inside my front pocket. Yeah, I had a harder time feeling mine buzz because those vibration levels weren't very, I heard the vibration more than felt it. And that's why he carried his in his front pocket, because he said he could feel that vibration against his thigh. I wonder how many of these guys having theirs in their front pockets became eligible for gender reassignment surgeries as a result. Yeah, mine was clipped to the right side of my belt. Yep, Fury. So, yeah. And then besides that, you got your femoral artery right there. And if that damage, that explosion was enough, it could take out the femoral artery, and you're going to bleed to death in a matter of about 2 minutes. So unless it's somebody standing right there with wound packing and a tourniquet, by the time they get around to helping to you, you've done bled out. Now, I think it would make them into the unit there, Fury. But it would definitely end any day, but it could possibly end any days of them hoping or dreading the idea of becoming a father. Because I think it would rattle the boys quite well, make them useless. The blast appeared to be the latest salvo in a conflict between Israel and Hezbollah that escalated after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. And Hezbollah, its ally, began firing rockets into northern Israel in support. Both militant groups are backed by Iran. And see, and that's why I don't have a problem with this. And that's why I think this was, this was really, really, really thought out in advance. I mean, not just a few weeks or months in advance, but years in advance. Because you've got to find these pagers. You got to find them. Then you've got to modify them. Then you have to repack them as if the packaging had never been opened. Then you have to find a way to get them exclusively into the hands of Hezbollah. So, I mean, this wasn't no fly-by-night thrown together operation. Whoever did this had made these plans years ago. Because this isn't something you put together in a few short months. I can't see the current and energy drain. Fury, would it be simpler just be packing a little C4 into each one? Because you're not really needing a huge explosion. You're not needing an explosion big enough to take down, a building or open a door or anything like that. You're just needing a big enough explosion to send shrapnel of that plastic going into the person and hopefully causing huge amounts of damage at the same time to that person. And unfortunately, to those that they surround them. And if it happens when they're out in public, well, there is going to be some collateral damage. But these pagers were in the hands of Hezbollah or those who supported Hezbollah. And, it's like those who, these idiots, I'm sorry, but, no, I'm not sorry. I've got no sympathy for the supporters of the Palestinian terrorists, if they get hurt, they get maimed, they get killed, I've got no sympathy. I've got wishes that they had not supported that group, those groups of terrorists. But you made your decision to support a terroristic group. Now you live with the consequences of your own decisions. Although Israeli officials have neither claimed nor denied responsibility for the explosions, Israel has a long history of sophisticated sabotage and assassination operations against its adversaries. And what's not stated there should be is that those sabotage and assassinations were never carried out without being justified, without being in retaliation for attacks on them first. Again, that's why I've got little to no sympathy for what's happening in Gaza. The Palestinian people there supported Hamas. When you support a terrorist group, I've got little to no sympathy. Do I wish you had not supported Hamas? Do I feel sorry for you that you're suffering because you supported Hamas? Yes. If you had not supported Hamas, if you had not supported Hezbollah, if you had not supported terrorists in any way, shape, and or form, you wouldn't have gotten hurt. These are the consequences of your own actions. I used to have a very heavy foot when driving. I've gotten one speeding ticket in my life. For which I'm very grateful. Now, I went to the school, so I didn't get the points. And I pulled, and actually on that speeding ticket, I was following someone else through an area I didn't know, and I didn't see the speed limit signs. And when I did see a speed limit sign, I instantly started hitting my brakes and flashing my lights to warn the guy I was following that he was speeding. And the cop noticed that. And rather than writing me a ticket for doing 25 miles over the speed limit, he wrote me a ticket for doing 12 miles over the speed limit. A much nicer, lower ticket. Did I still deserve my ticket? Yeah. And they pulled over the guy that I was following a half a mile or so down the road, and they wrote him the ticket for the full amount because he didn't even attempt to slow down. And he was mad, especially when he found out what my ticket was for. He was not a happy camper. Because he couldn't go to school for his ticket. I think he spent 30 days in jail. Because they got him on reckless driving. But anyway, now the consequences of your own actions, the consequences of who you support, the consequences of what you do with your life. And sometimes those consequences are good and sometimes they're bad. And when they're bad, you've earned those consequences. When they're good, you've earned those consequences. What is a little toe popper? I've got to look that up. What is a little toe popper? Little toe buddy? No. Little toe straightener? Oh, mini frags. Oh. Oh, okay. I see. Little toe poppers and mini frags. Little known toys. All righty. Now I see what they are. According to American and other officials briefed on the attack, Israel hid explosive material in a shipment of Taiwanese made pagers important to Lebanon. The explosive material, as little as 1 or 2 ounces, was inserted next to the battery in each pager. The pagers Hezbollah ordered were from the Gold Apollo company in Taiwan, had been tampered with before they reached Lebanon. According to one official, Israel calculated the risk of harming people not affiliated with the Hezbollah were low, given the size of the explosive. Now remember, these are not Israeli officials. These are Hezbollah and American officials. And probably American officials which are not friendly, because we got quite a few people, American officials, who do not like Israel, who are anti-Semitic, anti-Zionist, anti-Jewish. Over 3,000 pagers were ordered from Gold Apollo. Hezbollah distributed its pagers to its members throughout Lebanon and some region the group's allies in Iran and Syria. In Syria, exploding pagers injured at least 14 people. Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati condemned what he characterized as a criminal Israeli aggression and called it a severe violation of Lebanese sovereignty. Well, what are you doing with Hezbollah terrorists there? Huh? Hezbollah also blamed Israel and warned there would be punishment for this blatant aggression. Israeli military declined to comment, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office did not respond to a request for comment. So once again, you didn't crush or pick up a cigarette box in IRA activity areas. Oh, yeah. If you didn't know people in the IRA area, if you were not a friend to the IRA or a friend to people who were friends of the IRA, you didn't go into IRA territories. You didn't know what in the hell was going to happen. Now, I was quite young when all that was going on there, Fury. During the worst of it. But the community I grew up in is a unique community. There was a large Amish, a large Irish, and a large Italian contingents within the community. with some German and Dutch sprinkled in for good measure. So it was interesting at the time, you know. My knowledge of that is very distinctly colored, because a lot of the people I grew up around, a lot of the adults I grew up around, were very much pro IRA. So, and I've just never spent the time to independently study any of it. So I guess best you could say is I'm agnostically neutral, except for the fact, you know, I wish when Ireland had voted for secession from the UK, it had been granted. But that's a whole nother kettle of fish that I'm not knowledgeable enough on to be even saying what I've said. When music was good and the terrorists were Irish. So anyhow, okay, what am I going to talk about for the next 15 minutes? I don't know. Let me see if there's anything new on Twitter feeds I should talk about. Let's see. A cop who pepper sprayed a guy from about 2 inches. That the guy had given the cop the finger. The cop pulled him over, and when the guy didn't jump to the cop's demands, cop pepper sprayed him. And then the city ended up firing the cop. He ended up in jail, and the city paid the man $50,000. Let's see. Oh, what's this? Okay, this is a short. Okay.
San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border. Fentanyl is another issue. The San Diego area sees between 80 and 90% of the methamphetamine and fentanyl seizures annually for our entire country. With little enforcement at the border, these drugs were coming through in mass. During my last year in San Diego, the price for a single pill of fentanyl, for example, went from $10 to 25 cents.
Wow. So much fentanyl came across the border that it dropped from $10 to 25 cents. You've got to be kidding me. Former Chief Border Patrol Agent Aaron Heike ordered by Biden-Harris to cover up the disaster at the border. Yeah, that's what he just said. He was ordered not to discuss it.
To make matters worse, during 2022 and 23, I had to shut down San Diego traffic checkpoints, which are critical for drug interdiction, because the resources had been diverted to the process and release mission.
Oh.
Had and still have a negative impact on the San Diego community. I had to release illegal aliens by the hundreds each day into communities who could not support them. To quiet the problem, 2 flights a week were provided from San Diego to Texas. These flights simply brought aliens that would have been released in San Diego over to Texas. Each flight.
Okay. Texas, of course, being a mostly Republican state. The Harris administration, Biden Harris, were sending illegals from California, a sanctuary state, to Texas. You have got. What a freaking joke that is. That's not a joke. That should have been a crime.
It cost approximately $150,000. This was the administration's way to try and quiet the border-wide crisis. In San Diego, we had an exponential increase.
All right, I'm going to have to find the rest of this guy's testimony. I'm going to have to find the rest of this guy's testimony. That's all there is to it. Because remember, the left.
The San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15
Whoa. The left went nuts when DeSantis sent 25 illegals to Martha's Vineyard, one of the wealthiest places in the country. And they turned around, and these wealthy people in Martha's Vineyard, remember Obama's vacation there. I think didn't the Obamas buy property in Martha's Vineyard? Obama's property on Martha's Vineyard. Wow. Yeah, they purchased an oceanfront compound in 2020 for $11.75 million. That's in addition to their place in Hawaii. And this group of people could claim poverty when faced with 25 illegal immigrants, how they couldn't deal with them. They couldn't support 25 illegal immigrants and had them sent off to a military base. Yeah, and they tried to, you're right, Fury, they tried to say it was human trafficking when Florida did it. I wonder what they're going to call it, now that it's been admitted to California doing it. Unfreaking believable. That was C-SPAN 2. I'm going to have to look that up. And, man, my day is packed because I've got to get ready for, I've got to cook the stuff for my son's birthday and then get ready to go to the ball game this afternoon. The wife will be home here in 3 hours to get me to go out for the ball field. Yeah, blah, 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 double standards, blah, 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 no standards. Yeah, exactly, Tyre. All right, guys, thanks for coming out. I'm going to leave it on that. I do not have my snake video handy with me right today. I forgot to dig up my snake video. And I just got a weird text I need to check out on. Why am I all of a sudden getting somebody's gotten my phone number that shouldn't have it? That's all I can say. Because I am getting the strangest text messages. But anyhow, I want everybody to try to have a good day. It's Thursday. So enjoy yourselves. Try to stay out of trouble. If you can't stay out of trouble, have as much fun getting out of it as you did getting into it. Be with the ones you love and love the ones that you're with, and have a good day.